Well, a lot of people might have slightly stronger words to say than damn when it comes to travel, because there are amber warnings for traffic gridlock. There are threatened strikes and so much rail engineering work that you'd be lucky to literally, you may as well just use your son or daughter's toy train set to get anywhere over this Christmas. It is outrageous, it is ridiculous, and someone who can help you through is, of course, the travel correspondent for The Independent. It's Simon Calder. Hello there, Simon.
Cristo, I will add to my thanks that you are back. It's lovely to talk to you and to see you. But as you say, a tricky old time to be a traveller, whether you're on trains, boats, planes or in the car.
Right, I get the unforeseen stuff, Simon. Firstly, thank you for your kind words. But I get the unforeseen stuff because stuff happens, right? I cannot understand why, at a time when we are working from home in our droves, at a time when if you are working Monday to Friday, there are probably alternative ways in which you can get somewhere, but Christmas is a time where families like to get together. Why on earth would Network Rail and the various rail companies collude to stop people getting places over Christmas? I mean, how many 800 trains are being cancelled on some of the worst networks? Thameslink, one of the busiest through central London, are essentially closing down from yesterday. It's outrageous.
Well, let me paint a different picture for you, Cristo, which is that we, of course, have a rapidly decaying rail infrastructure that is unfortunately no longer fit for purpose. It's going to celebrate its 200th anniversary next year, and as a result of that, it needs fixing. Network Rail and the train operators really want to impact as few people as possible, and they say that all their data suggests that Christmas is the least bad time to do it. Now, I think there's a lot of people who would say, yeah, well, that's only because fewer people travel at Christmas because fewer people can trust the trains, and I think there's some data to be done there. But exactly as you say, the main line from London St Pancras International going north to Luton, to Bedford, to Leicester, Derby, Nottingham and Sheffield, that has been severed for the last couple of days, and it will continue like that until the 30th of December. Anybody who wants to catch a train anywhere has exactly about 30 hours to do that, because things will start closing down mid-evening on Christmas Eve right across the country. All trains will be tucked up in their depots for Christmas Day, no trains at all. Things start again on Boxing Day, but in a very limited way. You've got a train from London Victoria to Gatwick and Brighton, links from Tottenham Hale in North London to Stansted Airport. Quite a lot of trains actually around Merseyside, but most things won't start up again until Friday the 27th, and then actually the busiest station in Britain, which is London Liverpool Street, and the second busiest, which is London Paddington, both of those will not open because they are having massive projects that will keep Liverpool Street closed until the 2nd of January and Paddington closed till the 30th of December.
And of course, you mentioned the railway lines reopening on Boxing Day and all of those things. That's without the inevitable staff shortage, which of course we're going to get because of all those members of staff of the train companies, of which we're paying a fortune, deciding when their alarm goes off, oh, hang on, no, I think I want Christmas to continue for a couple more days. I think I might be ill today.
I couldn't possibly comment on that. I know that if you put that to the big rail unions, the RMT and ASLEF, they would say that's absolutely not what happens at all. We have had yesterday hundreds of trains cancelled on Northern. That was exactly as a result of people opting not to go to work, as they're entitled to do. The guards on trains in northwest England don't have to work on a Sunday, so it's the last one before Christmas. Why would you want to do a bit of overtime and you could
Because you are
spend time with
forced
your
to.
families.
Why did we give these huge pay rises and not say, as part of the pay rises, you are forced to work on sociable days? Because that's the job. You don't become a doctor and say, sorry, I'm not working weekends. You don't become a journalist and say, sorry, I'm only going to do the news Monday to Friday. So why are you allowed to work on a train as a guard or a driver and say, sorry, I'm only going to do a couple of days a week and that's that?
Well, because this is rooted in the Victorian era, literally. Now, I know that many listeners and viewers will be sorry that you're not Prime Minister. I'm definitely not the Transport Secretary, but I suggest you put that question either to Heidi Alexander, the current Transport Secretary, or her predecessor, Louise Haigh, who actually negotiated the deal whereby train drivers got 15% pay increase covering 3 years, but without any strings attached, and that was exactly what they were after. So these things can be sorted out, but it's going to cost more money. Currently, the taxpayer is paying £12.5 billion a year to keep the trains running. That's £400 per second.
Now, I'm going to pick you up on something, Simon. Now, you know I love you, and you know I agree with most of what you say. Sometimes. But we have Victorian infrastructure, and I'm sorry, this is why, you know, they would argue that they've got to close the railways, right? I remember something in 1997 called Thameslink 2000. Now, Thameslink is, of course, the line you're talking about, which goes through central London up to the north, to Peterborough, up to St Pancras, to Luton, to Bedford, all this stuff. Thameslink 2000. And do you know why it was called Thameslink 2000? Because we were told that these transformative changes, meaning that we get the most reliable train service, would be finished by 2000. Well, come about 2007, they dropped the word 2000 because, obviously, 2000 had passed. We're now in 2025 nearly, and they're still closing all of these lines for the engineering work that we were promised 30 years ago would transform our journeys.
I couldn't argue with a word of that, Cristo. Yeah, it's pretty grim, and this is at exactly the time when actually every single talk listener and viewer should be thinking, OK, we are going to travel by train because it's greener and less stressful and so on, but I'm afraid that's not the message that people get.
Yeah, I was offered, I was saying this earlier, I was going to go to St Albans tonight to see a friend for a drink, and I was offered a 2-hour and 50-minute replacement bus service, which would cost £30 to get there.
Well, look, I will buy you a drink instead, Cristo. So usual place, 6 o'clock.
I feel like I need one after this conversation. So I suppose it's all the usual, isn't it? Check, check and check again. Check the airports, check the train lines, check National Rail, check everything before you even think about, I don't know, just walking to the corner shop.
You could say that, yes.
All right, listen, Simon, thank you. I don't know whether you've made me feel better with all of that. I have to be honest, but I hope you have a nice Christmas. I hope you're going to make it somewhere at Christmas. He has a bike. He has a bicycle, so, you know, I think he'll be all right.